Hey guys, what's up? It's Ali Goodwin, and today I'm going to be talking about the major differences, in my opinion, between high school and college. These are things I wish I had known about before starting college, and things that I have realized in the year and a half that I've been at college that are way different from high school, both good and bad, but just different. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and find it helpful, and let me know in the comments if you know of any big differences between high school and college, because I'm sure I've missed so many differences. Yeah, let's get into the video. Number one, dating in high school and college is so different in my opinion. It's so much easier to just casually hang out with someone in college and it be less of a big deal. It's not weird at all to be like, hey, person I'm interested in, want to study together, or go get lunch after the class that we share, or whatever. It's just easier to get to know people one-on-one that you may or may not be interested in. And a lot of times in high school, I knew everyone in my high school. If I was gonna go on a date with somebody in high school, I already probably knew them for a couple of years. They probably went to my middle school, probably lived on my street, you know. But in college, there's so many people and you don't know these people very well, generally, that you're going on dates with, or you may have just met them a couple months ago or whatever, and you really just don't know where people are at in their dating experience. So I think you also have to be careful navigating the college dating world, because you don't know if somebody has hooked up with somebody 5 million times and that's what they expect out of you, but maybe you're not comfortable doing that, or maybe they've never dated anyone and they want to take things super slow. And I think in high school, generally everyone is looking for their little high school love relationship, but in college, I think people have very different intentions in college, and that's something you have to be aware of going on a date or going into a relationship with somebody. I think about making a video entirely on dating in college, advice or tips, or my experiences, or if you guys have any questions specifically about dating in college. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments, and if you have any specific things you want me to talk about in that video, also let me know in the comments. So yeah, dating in college video might be coming to you soon. 2. There's not as much drama. I just remember in high school, all of the little things mattered so much. If your shirt was a little scandalous, would you get in trouble for dress code? Was that girl dating that guy? Oh my god, let's all talk about it. There were fights that broke out in the cafeteria at my school, and it was drama for days about why they were fighting. All of that kind of BS is left in high school, and nobody cares about your business. No one cares if you show up to class in pajamas. No one's gonna be talking about it it's a scandal. Everyone just kind of minds their own business and they're focused on themselves in college, so nobody really cares what you're doing with your life. Not that they don't care in a mean way, but there's just no drama or gossip as much about what everyone's doing. 3. You're more independent. I love this. I think in high school you don't really realize all the adult struggles. Sometimes in college I'm do I want to eat dinner, but then I'll have to wash the dishes, so do I really want to eat dinner? That's a thought that definitely crosses my mind, which is kind of sad. You have more control over your life and what you do every day, versus in high school you eat what your parents make for you. You know, if you need to go somewhere but you don't have a car, you gotta wait for someone to drive you and tell your parents where you're going everywhere. So I think it's cool that you're your own little adult and you're more independent. 4. Kind of going off of being more independent, this is something good and bad depending on the kind of person you are, but people don't care if you don't succeed in college. So if you want to skip class, the professor doesn't care, that's on you. You're paying for this education, so there aren't as many repercussions. If you don't do your work, you get a 0. If you skip class, oh, you missed it. Nobody's looking over your shoulder making sure that you're doing good in school, versus in high school, you know, if I didn't turn in a homework, the teacher would come and be like, hey, why didn't you turn it in? Can you turn it in tomorrow? Here's late points. There isn't that as much in college. And if you miss class and skip class, you'll get in trouble with the principal or whatever. In high school, your parents are there making sure you're getting your homework done, so it's definitely a lot more on you to make sure that you're responsible and you're going to class and you know what's up and what the material is. 5. People actually want to be at school. So in high school, you may have liked that one art class you took, or maybe you're a math whiz, I don't know, but generally you're oh, school again today, every day, gross. And half the kids sit in the back and talk, or throw paper airplanes in the movies, and no one really wants to be at school in high school. But in college, everyone is paying to be there, to learn, and everyone really wants to be there, so it makes school way more fun, because everyone's actually passionate about it, and you want to learn, the person next to you wants to learn, so you're just having a great learning time. 6. You have a full day of 7 to 8 hours of classes in high school, versus in college you may go to school 1 day that day or 5 hours that day. It just depends on your schedule, but you're definitely going to class way less. Most of my classes meet twice a week, some 3 times a week, and the rest of the time should be spent on homework or doing projects. Because you're in class less, you have more homework and bigger homework assignments. In high school you might be writing 1-page essay, but in college you're writing a 10-page essay, so that's why you need less time in school, so you can go out of school and do your homework and learn things. Some things are self-taught in college, college, you may learn a concept in class and then you have to go home and read the textbook to make sure you really know the concept well. So it's a combination of a lot of projects and work and like some self-teaching with the textbook, and that's why you're in class less, which is good and bad. You know, sitting in school for 8 hours is kind of boring and tiring and time-consuming, of course. So in college, you're in the library most of the day and in the classroom some of the day. 7. So this point is kind of contradictory, but let me explain. There are less cliques and less stereotypes, but also some stereotypes are super real in college. So there are less cliques in like the sense that like in high school I feel like I was like in theater and I was friends with like the theater kids and I was friends with like some band kids and that's how I referred to them. But in college everyone is just like people. Like if you're in choir or you are in the band or you play a sport, like no one cares. No one's like I'm friends with the athletes. They're just like I'm friends with this person. Like I'm friends with so many more different kinds of people in college because there aren't like cliques or like stereotypes. No one's stereotyped into like their social group as much in college. But there are some very real stereotypes like sorority girls or frat guys or some of the, if you're like a football player, there's like some very real stereotypes about that. So stereotypes don't completely go away. There are still cliques in college, of course, but generally less, which I really like, that you're friends with so many different kinds of people versus in high school you're kind of boxed into like a social group. 8. Parties and socializing. So in high school I didn't really go to a lot of parties. I'm sure other people did, but it was generally, in my opinion, the parties that I did go to, like, oh my gosh, someone's parents aren't home, like come over to my house, let's sneak some alcohol, like woohoo, we're so rebellious, you know, or you're doing things that are very PG because your parents are there. Versus in college, parties are really real. They can be fun, they can be dangerous, you have to be careful and know what you're getting yourself into and what you're going to, and make sure you go with a good group of friends. Frat parties can be gross and wild and fun, and it really just depends who you are as a kind of person. There's so many like different social activities in college, which is awesome, like different things for every person. Clubs will have like small little get-togethers, and then frats will have giant raging parties. So depending on like who you are, I think there's like a social scene for everyone. Generally it is really cool that, you know, no matter who you are, you got a little social group for you. 9. Priorities are so different in high school versus college, at least for me. In high school, like all these little things mattered, like how you look or like who you're like talking to or who you're friends with. But in college, like people are just trying to survive. Like if you had a big test that day, you're like rolling up in pajamas with no makeup on and you're like just trying to get your stuff done. So I think people's priorities are like better in college, like more focused on what's important, and nobody cares as much what people think of them or if they look perfect that day, because they're just trying to get through their classes and make good grades and survive college. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope that video was helpful and just showed you guys some of the like main differences between high school and college and gave you some perspective on college and college life. Also, let me know if you want me to make that video specifically on college dating, because I think I could give a lot of advice and insight into that, and also maybe I could get my 5 roommates to be in that video with me because we all have very different dating experiences. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will be back with another video next week. Make sure to follow me on all my social media down below and have a good rest of your week. Okay, bye!